All right, welcome to a hybrid holiday episode of the Purple Rain Show. Today we're going to do something different. We're going to break down the Thanksgiving Day NFL slate of games. We'll talk some Baltimore Ravens, the hottest AFC team in the league. I don't care what you say about the Patriots. We'll talk a little fantasy, and a topic near and dear to our hearts here is working out, weightlifting, the gym, the diet, the routine, the lifestyle, the state of mind. So we're going to talk about hitting the gym, lifting some weights, much more. So to do this today, I'm joined by a very special guest co-host. He is the host of the Sunday Sports Voice on AM 1570 WNST Radio in Baltimore. He's the hardest working man in the car biz over at Coons Ford of Baltimore. So if you need a new car, you need to check him out at the dealership. We'll take care of you. And a cycling instructor at Merritt Athletic Club. You can find him on Twitter at Koulatsos Show. DKOULATSOS Show. Mr. Dennis Koulatsos joins me today. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Frank. It's an honor to be able to do the show with you.
Hell yeah, I've been looking forward to this all week. Just something a little different. We always talk our football and fantasy and NFL, and a lot of people don't know us personally, but a big thing that we are passionate about is working out and hitting the gym, doing some weights, and it's a routine I've had for a long time. I know you as well. But just to talk about some stuff and get people into the gym. New Year's will be up here soon, and I know it's always a big New Year's resolution for a lot of people out there, you know.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Got to stay disciplined, particularly through the holidays. Like I told my members this morning, you don't gobble till you wobble. You got to have some discipline about you through the holidays, and you got to be disciplined, right? It's portion control, and you just can't blow your workout regimen over the holidays.
Absolutely. It's tough, but sometimes if you make a game out of it, it's kind of fun too. It's hard because people always want to know why, or you get some attention. Well, go ahead. It's holidays. Just have another. It's when you're the outsider, you're different. It does feel weird, but to overcome that, you just kind of get in that mindset where it's like a game. Like, all right, I can do this all night. Let's see how long I can last. Make yourself little kind of challenges. I've done that going out to the bar. I'm not going to drink. I sat at a bar on St. Patrick's Day and didn't drink a couple of years ago. So I was in the middle of my workout routine. It was like, man, I'm not messing this up. You can't get me off track here. You just kind of play games and stuff like that, make it interesting.
Well, Frank, I'm a recovering fataholic. Back in April, I was weighing 287. I'm down to 217, but I've yo-yoed all my life. So I've been battling the fork, and finally I made up my mind. This is it. I'm down to a size 36 waist. All my biometrics are in line. It has to be a lifestyle change for me, because at 55, I think in your 50s, that sets up your 60s and 70s and 80s.
Right.
You just don't want to make it there. You want to be healthy. You want to have a good quality of life, so that way you can enjoy yourself versus, having a poor quality of life or worse, checking out.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the ultimate 401k, and it's not going to, it'll pay you some immediate results visually, but you're hoping that bank opens up and you're going to take your withdrawal later. And that's the goal. I mean, there's a guy that's at my gym. He's working out. I mean, I've seen him for years, and I'm always thinking he's probably in his 60s or something. And we finally got to talking, and he was 72. And I was like, my God. And he goes, yeah. He's like, that's impressive to you? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I said, you are like my goal. He's like, oh, come on. I said, yeah, I'm not trying to get, Hulk Hogan shredded or look like a damn wrestler, or these meatheads. I'm trying to get to where you're at. You're walking around. I'm thinking you're 10 years younger than you are. I mean, geez, that's the ultimate goal for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of drawbacks to being overweight, and one of those drawbacks, of course, it does make you look older. And to your point, this gentleman at 72 probably looked like he was 62, and that's one of the byproducts of having a healthy lifestyle. It just, you look good, and the vanity aspect of it too. It works for a lot of people. It's never really been my motivation, but you know what? A healthy image also gives you a healthy outlook. If you like what you see in the mirror, that also a lot of times affects your state of mind and your mood.
Absolutely. We're going to get into some more of that. Let's jump into some NFL Thanksgiving real quick before we get into the workouts. We've got some games on the slate. I don't know what you think if you've seen the slate here. You got Bears and Lions, traditional Lions game, Cowboys, of course, going up against the Bills. And then we've got the Saints and the Falcons. I think the Saints-Falcons is probably going to steal the show for some reason. My gut's saying that could be a nice kind of shootout, high-scoring video game affair. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a very good matchup between two dome teams, and you've got Dan Quinn on the ropes. And look, if the Falcons win out, they can finish the season, say 8-8. That may save his job, versus that horrific 1-7 start. And the Saints, they've been vulnerable since Drew Brees has come back. I think maybe the team stepped up when he was on injury reserve and Teddy Bridgewater came in. And a very, very intriguing game. If the Falcons do in fact win this game, it certainly affects the playoff picture in the NFC for the Saints. And they also take a step towards saving Dan Quinn's job. And Dan Quinn is very popular still amongst the players, something that's not lost to the owner, Arthur Blank.
Yeah, I think the Saints, for Teddy Bridgewater filling in and doing as well as he did, that really, man, if they would have taken a dip with his filling in for Drew Brees, they could be in a tough spot right now. But I think they lost. Did they lose Lattimore? Is he out with an injury? I thought he may be banged up or something. I think that's kind of why they're taking a dip defensively. But I mean, they can definitely make a run, and they ought to be in the playoffs for sure. The Falcons, I'm wondering how for real is that defense? That you just take a team that was doing so bad, and then all of a sudden, boom, here they are. They start dealing out. They shut Breeze down earlier. Looks like they're coming around, turning the corner. And how do they just turn that on like that? I've never really seen a team just come do that right off the bat. I want to see if it's for real. Are they going to stretch that ride that momentum through the end of the season? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is the most intriguing matchup of the three by far because of all the implications, all the storylines and the sub-storylines and the subplots that are going to play out in this game. So we'll learn a lot about both of these teams right after this game, which is why we're going to watch it. We're going to tune in because it should be a very fun, as you mentioned, high-scoring affair. That's what I expect. Yeah,
fantasy-wise, too, I'm looking at Drew Brees. I'm looking Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. Those will be probably your top three guys there. I don't really see too much going on with the ground game at this point. Hard to say, but I think it'll be a balls in the air and air it out kind of game. Hopefully, it should be nice and exciting. And then Bills
I wouldn't take either defensive though.
No,
as you mentioned, the Falcons did shut down the Saints, down there on their own home court.
Yeah, and it was recent enough. They got some tape they can look at, make some adjustments. I think they can get over that. The next one up, Bills and Cowboys, little old school Super Bowl action there. They don't have a lot of history outside of the Super Bowl time, but they're on Thanksgiving this year. I think this could be another game that could surprise. I don't know how, maybe it's a slower start and it kind of gets exciting at the end, maybe kind of game. Every Thanksgiving there's always one, isn't it? It's like there's a shootout. There's a low scoring game that's kind of boring, and then there's one that just gets all the excitement right up at the fourth quarter, midway through third into fourth, and comes down to a couple plays or whoever's got the ball last.
Yeah, for me, it's hard not to like the Cowboys at home with that offense. Their defense is coming around. On the flip side of the ball, I'm not a big Josh Allen fan. I'm not a big Bills fan. I've seen a couple of the games this year. I've been underwhelmed, to say the least. I think they're not as good as the record reflects, and it's hard for me to pick against the Cowboys at home. Although they're playing late Sunday night against the Patriots, but still, I think they're a much better team than the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, absolutely. The Cowboys, they got to start knocking out these teams that they're supposed to beat, through the rest of the season if they want to do anything for playoffs and in the NFC. The NFC is going to be pretty tightly contested, I think, come playoffs with wild cards and divisional winners, because you've got the Packers, the Niners, Saints we just talked about. Cowboys should be in the mix, but I think it could play out pretty interesting, come week 16, 15 to see how things are shaping up here.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. And for fantasy football implications, you got the usual suspects on the Cowboy side, but I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on the Bills side.
Yeah, the Bills really, if you're looking at fantasy legit players, it's Josh Allen. I think that'll be a tough matchup for him. He does a lot with his legs, so if he needs to overcome, his receivers getting shut down or whatnot, or run game, he's got to make some plays with his legs. John Brown has been the hottest receiver in fantasy world, but he hasn't been in the end zone a lot. So this is a game. Are they going to try to take him away? Can they open some things up for him to get deep? And he went from a boom or bust player each week to being a consistent fantasy player week in and week out, which has been really nice. But with a couple touchdowns in there, 1 or 2, I mean, he really gets you some nice points in a flex play or something like that, wide receiver 2. And you got Cole Beasley, revenge game going back against the Cowboys, his former team. I like what he does underneath, and if they play him out of the slot, I think he can get some catches. He's kind of tailed off the past few weeks, though. He hasn't really made a meaningful kind of impact in the fantasy world, but I think, he could come back around this game too. It's odd that all these players, when they're free agents or they jump to other teams, it's almost like sometimes the coaches want to get them a little extra for the team when they go back and face their former. It seems like, so you never know. He could have a decent game and get a lot of targets and catches too. If it's a PPR fantasy league, then 5 catches, 8 catches, and a touchdown will get you a nice spot too. So,
I would love Frank to interview John Brown. He's gone from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen. Didn't do a great job in Baltimore. Started off, with a bang.
Yeah.
With Joe Flacco, then tailed off, and then Lamar came in, and all they did was run the ball primarily. He became an afterthought, and now he's having a very good year, another resurgence with Josh Allen, but I would love to pick his brain to see what he's been through for the last, call it 19, 20 months.
Yeah, it would have been nice for the Ravens to keep him, too, because that would be Brown and Brown. What can Brown and Brown do for you, right? They'll both go deep on your ass.
Well, you know what? Antonio, speaking of Brown, Antonio's still out there, and you know what? If I'm the Ravens, I would probably put him on the team before the Patriots do. I think the Patriots are desperate. It wouldn't surprise me if he ends up back on that team, but I would love to see him in Baltimore. And guess what? If he doesn't fit in with the locker room, with the culture, they can certainly show him the door just like everybody else has. But this will give him an opportunity to play with his cousin, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and that would give the Ravens one more explosive weapon. I don't know that Steve Bisciotti signs off on this guy any more than Robert Kraft would, but this is something to keep an eye on. There's some smoke there with this character still.
Yeah, I think so too. It's hard to say. I mean, and especially if, the Ravens are going to be in the thick of it. So he's coming back to a positive situation. The Raiders situation really wasn't, anything like they're going to go make a run. It's a new team. They're paying him the money. And, the drive's a little different when a championship's in sight. So I think that's why the Patriots have so much success when they bring in troubled players, that they know they've got a great opportunity to get a ring. So they settle down, they suck it up, and they do what they got to do to get that trophy, because they know it's within reach. It's not like another team where you're like, maybe not, who knows? If it happens, it happens, kind of thing. So I think that helps those players fall in line and get with the program and not be big distractions. So yeah, with the Ravens, that would be interesting. Brown and Brown together. Wow, that could be dangerous.
Yeah. Still a long shot though, because I know that when the Patriots took a shot with him, Robert Kraft signed off on him initially. Then when those rape allegations surfaced, that's when he tapped out. And I get the story is that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick lobbied to keep him. That's pretty significant. That's a pretty significant charge. Now he's countersuing the woman who accused him of raping her. I don't know that any NFL team gets involved with this gentleman anytime in the near future, but we've seen some strange things in our lifetime when it comes to the NFL.
Yeah, there's a lot. You never know with these stories, and you can't really jump in until it's almost over to even make a call on things like that, because you never know. It's just always, it's up in the air. The NFL wants to investigate it. The local police or whatever jurisdiction, they're going to check it out, and it can go any way. There's always surprising things. I mean, and we've seen enough, the past 5 years in the NFL with this alone, and other players. So
yeah, for sure.
And then the Bears and the Lions, NFC North divisional game. I mean, the Lions are always on Thanksgiving since 1945, so they'll bring the NFC divisional opponent in for the Bears, and man, it's 2 coaches, Nagy and Patricia. I think they're both second year, so boy, the teams, they look totally different from last year, both of them, I think. Yeah,
they really do. I've been watching the Lions on TV on Thanksgiving ever since Hector was a pup, and now he's full grown. But I've always had a theory about dome teams play real well at home, not so much on the road, particularly in outdoor stadiums. And also that works in reverse. You have the Bears, a grass field outdoor team, going into the dome, which it's going to be very noisy, very festive. And no matter how bad the Lions have been traditionally over space and time through the decades, they've always managed to win somehow on Thanksgiving Day. I don't think this Thanksgiving Day is going to be any different. I would favor the home team in this matchup, as I do when teams I think are real close. I always tend to take the home team, and right now I think the Lions have a slight edge over the Bears.
Yeah, I would take the Lions as well. I think they edge out in a lot of the skill positions against the Bears. Just on the outside, I guess, the Lions at corner. You got Darius Slay. He's a shutdown corner. Driscoll edges out Trubisky, in my opinion. The run game, I don't really like the Lions backfield as much. It's a big mystery week in and week out whether who's going to play and who's not. But last year, Bears and Lions, that was a pretty good fourth quarter. The game was tied at 16 midway through the final, and you had Bears safety Eddie Jackson picking off Matt Stafford for a 41-yarder game winner walk-off. So overall, the Bears lead the series like 99-74, but this one at home Thanksgiving, like you said, the Lions are always playing tough on Thanksgiving, and I missed the Turduncan award and the players going off with John Madden to get the Turduncan, but they ought to take it this year. I'd see them pulling out the win there.
All right, my final thought on Matt Stafford is he's a thrower. He's always been a thrower. It seems like he always throws a pick at the worst possible time. And if Matt Patricia's smart, he'll build an incredibly strong offensive line, become a run first ball team, and then that way he can play action and use that strong arm to put the ball in place to wide open receivers. Strong arm quarterbacks have a tendency to think they can hit any window, and that's why they throw so many picks, and he's no exception.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, Kenny Golladay, big receiver, Babytron. I like that nickname for him. He's solid. And then even Marvin Jones has been getting in the mix too. Fantasy-wise, he's been getting in the end zone a couple weeks in a row, so he could definitely show up and show out on a big holiday game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But should be fun. 3 games. Can't complain about that, Frank.
Absolutely. Yeah, let's jump into some Ravens here. Hottest AFC team. Oh my God. Is that everybody loves Lamar Jackson now? It's great, isn't it?
How could you not? I had a person on Twitter say, look, when the story came out that he went into the trainer's room to check on the guys getting treatment, like, look, everybody does it. I'm like, buddy, you know what? Not everybody does that. And this was Marlon Humphrey breaking the story and saying this is the kind of guy he is. This wasn't the media or the Ravens PR machine trying to show what a wonderful person Lamar Jackson is. He's genuine. He's a leader. Not many quarterbacks go into the trainer's room to check on their guys to make sure they're okay. That kind of attitude and behavior buys him nothing but love. I think every player on that team would go through a brick wall for him, that would take a bullet for him. He's become probably one of the most beloved athletes in Baltimore right away ever since I can remember, Frank.
Oh yeah, I like Jackson. I like what he's been doing, and I compare it. I'm up here in Green Bay, so I've seen Aaron Rodgers from day one, and the day he came in as a rookie, they used to have practice along the road in Green Bay across from the stadium, so they have a chain link fence and the sidewalk. And they'd pack, 3,000 people around that whole block watching practice. So they'd butt up to the road. And I remember sitting there and hearing people say, we want Favre. We want Favre. They hated him, right? They did not. Oh, yeah. You had half of the.
Didn't he sit the first 5 years, or am I mistaken about that? Didn't he back up Brett for 5 years?
Yeah, he backed him up, or I think it was 3 or 4 before they gave him.
It took him a while though to replace Brett Favre.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Half of the community, Packer fan nation, whatever, they either hated him, and it was Favre only. They're loyal to Brett Favre, and that's it. And then, you got reasonable people that say, hey, what are you going to do? Brett Favre ain't playing forever, right? But, I remember that day like it was yesterday, and I could not believe people were saying that while he is literally 3 feet in front of you throwing a football. Can you imagine that? So from day one, all the controversy, all the news, it was on NFL Network 24/7, ESPN. He always handled it the right way. And that's what Lamar Jackson's done from day one. He's handled everything the right way as a professional. He's not complaining. He's not, trying to get back like, little comments or jabs or he just plays his game, does his thing, shows up, and the actions speak louder than the words. And he's doing it the right way. And how can you not get behind a player like that to get, to do it the right way when everything is so messy and controversial to start because, he should be a receiver and all the, everything that's been said since he's come out at the draft. But it's great to see him, and I'm completely because people will say, well, how are you so confident that he's going to turn into anything or what? I'm like, well, look at everything he's done up till now. He's gotten better. He's progressed. He does the right thing on and off the field. Team loves him. Chemistry. Everything is, you're just stacking wins, right? the little things. So I think he's amazing.
He is amazing, Frank. Somebody on Twitter said, hey, you got all these bandwagon fans and you guys are just starting to buy the number 8 jersey. And I posted a picture of myself from May 2018 with my number 8 Lamar Jackson jersey. I was on board early. I can document it. You can check my Twitter feed.
That's right.
Out my blogs, my columns. I've been on his bandwagon since the second they drafted him. Right away, I said this is not good news for Joe Flacco. But it's great news for Ravens Nation. It's great news for the team. They're going to commit to this young man, and hopefully he becomes what we saw him at Louisville. He's become that and then some. Frank, I can't tell you how many number 8 jerseys I'm seeing in Baltimore right now. White jerseys, purple jerseys, black jerseys. The demand is sky high. Everybody's wearing them. My wife just got a number 8 jersey, and she's become a huge fan, just a football fan. She got tired of watching the same old with Joe Flacco leading the team. And this guy's been better than advertised. He carries himself like a veteran. Last year, right after the bitter playoff loss to the Chargers, where he didn't play well and the fans were booing, Jimmy Smith, the Pro Bowl cornerback, said the fans shouldn't boo the team. They don't have that right. Lamar Jackson said they have every right to boo. Right away, this young man got it. He has the mentality of a veteran. And you know what? Every time he opens his mouth, I marvel at what comes out of it at 22 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then I think another big topic that's kind of gone maybe a little under the radar is the signing of Marcus Peters. And since he's come on board, that defense, the air game, the passing attack, they're shutting people down with Peters in the lineup. And the corners, for a couple of years, we had such a terrible depth at cornerback. And now it's like the riches, right? We've got Smith, we've got Peters. It's been great. And if I'm looking at the schedule here, so you got the Rams, and we're recording this prior to the Rams game just for time constraints and scheduling. But so you got the Rams up for Monday night, then you're going to see the Niners at home, and then you've got the Bills, the Jets, the Browns, and the Steelers. That's a great end of schedule, I think, for the team overall. I mean, they got a lot of momentum, and with the addition of Peters and that defense getting better as, the season's closing, I think a lot of teams defensively, if there's anything there, if there's any magic or there's some potential, it always seems like they can close strong, because as these players start gelling and the schemes, they're comfortable in the scheme and execution, I think it's a great way, even final 3 games to go out on for the Ravens this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Marcus Peters, he's just a monster. I saw some tape with him jawing at DeAndre Hopkins. I completely shut him down in the second half of the Ravens' win against the Houston Texans. But the other big move they made, it's been kind of a little bit low-key, under the radar. Tony Jefferson's injury, and I love Tony Jefferson as a person, but that was a blessing in disguise. Chuck Clark has come in. He's wearing the green dot. And unlike the first 4 games where Ravens played the Cardinals, the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Steelers, when they had receivers running wide open, tight ends wide open, and they weren't accountable because the communication just wasn't there. Chuck Clark has come in and solidified that back end. He is the smartest person on that team. According to Earl Thomas, the communication is there. You just don't see players being wide open in space. And that, in addition with Marcus Peters, has taken the Ravens right now to probably a top 10, maybe a top 5 defense in the last 4 or 5 games.
Absolutely. I like the defensive signings too with Pico and Ellis to shore up that defensive line. That was a good move, and I was pretty happy to see him pull the trigger and do something rather than say we'll get by or we'll patchwork something. They went out and made a move, whether it works or not. I mean, you got to do something if you're serious about a run. And defensively, to sign 2 big bodies in the middle, I think that was a great addition, and I think that'll come through too. The next couple weeks.
Frank, I've got to tell you that at the beginning of the year, I thought this team was a year away. In 2020, they have cap space, they have draft picks, they have some things that they can do that they haven't had the last few years, particularly with the Flacco contract, the dead cap money, whether it was Dennis Pitters' injury or Ladarius Webb injury or Eugene Monroe not playing up to his contract, the Ray Rice dead money that was there as well. So now they're rid of those things, and I thought it would take Lamar Jackson 1 more year to mature. I didn't expect them to make a big run this year. I expect them to compete for the playoffs, but right now they are the best team in the AFC, and you can make the argument maybe the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, they're ahead of schedule for sure, and like you said, with the money, the draft picks, The execution of the draft this year I thought was great. I think they're really set up if they want to do something this year, make some noise, take a Super Bowl, and you name it. They've got a strong foundation to build on the next couple of years to stay in the mix, be competitive. New dynasty, you never know. You just never know. I mean, it's a lot of good things are in place looking beyond this season, and that's really good to see because that's hard sometimes with teams. It's all in or nothing on the year, and you can see them setting up for disaster later by players that are leaving or haven't come or free agency. But I like what they're setting up to do, say the next 3 to 5. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, they have a lot of young players on their rookie contracts, so their window's going to be open for quite a while. They're scoring 34 points a game. They're so much fun to watch, Frank, that now when I watch like Houston and the Colts the other night, the Texans, I was bored. I'm like, I need to watch our Ravens because they're just so exciting. They're just so innovative on the offensive side of the ball. They're playing lights out on defense. Their special teams have always been very, very strong with Justin Tucker and company. So they're a lot of fun to watch. And when I'm watching other teams, I just don't get the same level of excitement.
Yeah, and then looking ahead to the draft next year, way ahead. What would you do for? What are you looking? I guess for position area of need. Where would you go in a draft for the Ravens for the next one?
Well, hopefully, Frank, for starters, are picking 32nd.
Yes.
Nothing would make me happier.
Absolutely.
If they pick 32nd again, just like they did with Lamar Jackson. But I still think they need some offensive line help. But the offensive line, Frank, has gelled very well together this year. They've all, Bradley Bozeman has solidified that left guard spot. Matt Skura has stepped up his game. And you got Yonda Monroe and Stanley. So, I initially thought offensive line, but I would still take a receiver. Alabama's got 3 or 4 very good receivers, and it's going to be a very deep receiver class. I still think that if they get that Julio Jones type of receiver, and of course, it's going to be very hard to find towards the later part of the first round. But that's on my draft board. Inside linebacker, though they've hit with Bynes and Fort. Maybe can never have enough defensive backs. Can't keep everybody, right? So
right.
They're actually in a position where they can take the best player available. That's been a philosophy and strategy for a long, long time. But I'm also curious to hear your thoughts about the 2020 draft for the Ravens.
Yeah, I think for the draft, I'm looking. If I'm Eric DeCosta, like you said, it's a wide receiver heavy draft, which will be nice. And I think you'd have to go. I'm a big believer in building the trenches, whether it's the D line or the offensive line. You've got to get the right guys in there along the trenches. So I'm going, an offensive lineman, wide receiver, best available, maybe first and second round. Whoever you've got graded out higher, take them. And then that third, fourth round, you're going to have some depth so you can really build the D line up. Like you said, linebackers, and kind of go that route. But I mean, if the Ravens had another, big body receiver or somebody else, Boykin, I'm thinking he can come around next year too, and add to that mix with a speedster in Brown, big body red zone target in Boykin, and then complement that with a guy out of the slot to start his rookie year. That's a dangerous offense with Lamar Jackson. That could be insane. And then running backs. I mean, you can pick up running backs. They've got Ingram, Edwards. I mean, you can even take some practice squad guys, bring them up if that line gels, like you said, and stays consistent. I don't think you can throw anybody back there, but running back wise, I mean, teams have to honor everything when they face the Ravens. There's too many, pick your poisons, whether it's Lamar Jackson, a run game, or, a trio of good receivers. So I like that approach in a draft. Offensive lineman, wide receiver, best available, build the trenches and add some depth towards the back end.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to take another edge rusher or get a free agent like Yannick Ngakoue. As Matthew Judon, he's going to get paid. When you look at what Zadarius Smith got paid by the Green Bay Packers, Zadarius only had 8 sacks, and I'm glad he's living up to his contract, that huge contract he signed, but there's no way the Ravens are going to match a similar contract to Matthew Judon, so maybe an edge rusher as well. There's also some other players around the league. O.J. Howard hasn't done a great job in Tampa Bay, not a good fit there, so if he becomes a free agent at some point, I can see them adding pieces, and I think the narrative a year ago is who's going to come to Baltimore, who wants to play with Lamar Jackson, who wants to play in this offense. I think people are going to be very surprised in the offseason how many players are willing to come to Baltimore, maybe at a slight discount to play with this young man.
Yeah, that's very true. I haven't thought about that, but it's spot on.
On defense too, and also on the defensive side. I mean, when you have an offense that gets this great time of possession, right, and you're holding the ball 35, 40 minutes a game, so the defense isn't on the field that much. They're fresh, right? So as a defensive end or a linebacker or a safety or cornerback, why wouldn't you want to come and play for the Baltimore Ravens, for a head coach who's already won a Super Bowl, who's won 10 playoff games, right, and has that pedigree? The organization as a whole, just like the Packers, it's one of the top 5 organizations in the NFL.
Yeah, it's very appealing. So that would be a huge boost in the free agency pocket, right? Who wouldn't?
Absolutely would.
And the uniforms. Come on, man. That's the whole reason Tony Jefferson came, right? He said he loved the damn uniforms. That's what he wanted.
I don't know how much of you sound like a big draft pick like I am, and I was shocked that Tony Jefferson went undrafted. He had a very bad combine. His time wasn't there, and I believe it was the same year that the Ravens took Matt Elam in the first round. Matt Elam, I didn't have him graded as a first round draft pick. I had him between rounds 3 and 4. He had stiff hips, but I also had Arthur Brown rated very high as well. So look, we're going to hit, we're going to miss, but I could not believe that Tony Jefferson, after a stellar career in Oklahoma, went undrafted.
Yeah, that's crazy. Draft. I love the draft year in and year out. It's so fun the way it plays out. It's just. It goes so many different ways. It's exciting, the drama. I mean, you just never know where it's going to turn. And a lot of people, they get into it or they don't, or a lot of the players you're not familiar with. But it's really fun. I look forward to it every year for all the teams, just to see. I watch it from beginning to end, the Thursday, Friday, and then I'll catch Saturday, Sunday fill-ins and updates. But I love it. It's exciting.
I do too, Frank. I usually do mock drafts year-round, and especially since 2013. The Ravens have been middle of the road, but this is the first year, and I guess it's because the team is 8-2. I really haven't paid as much attention as I have in the past. For instance, last year at the bye week, we were 4-5. I was all over the draft boards, and now at 8-2. I mean, look, it's almost an afterthought because I'm having so much fun with the current team. Yeah, I'm not looking to see we know who we're going to pick. At the 16th, 17th, 18th position, where they normally have been the last few years.
Yeah, that's what February and March is for. You can get caught up, get rounded out to the players in the class, and get ready for the April draft.
No, but this is a lot of fun. It's nobody around here picked them to be 8-2 at this point of the season. Not even your best optimist out there.
No, that's crazy. What's some good Ravens stuff here? Let's jump in to some working out, weightlifting, nutritional stuff.
Yeah,
we're talking about top of the show. We're going to get into some workouts and weightlifting, nutrition kind of talk. Basically, with the holidays coming up, it's Thanksgiving. So you sit down and you go, man, New Year's is going to be up and coming here. And I should probably make some New Year's resolutions. And whether you're a newbie walking into a gym for the first time, or you've been in for a while and you're looking to tweak the program, you hit a plateau and you got to advance here. We're talking about some weightlifting and stuff that we do to get you in there and be successful. There's a lot of people that are at the gym that are giving the wrong advice. There's a lot of stuff online that is the wrong advice. And until you do it and you put your own time in and learn about yourself, learn about what works, what doesn't work, things get really clear. So let's talk about our background in the gym, just how we got started. For me, I used to work out and stuff in high school, and then I pretty much stopped in my 20s. I was eating ice cream like crazy, just being lazy. I didn't do anything. I didn't walk. I didn't run. No working out. I was just raising my daughter. But then when I was like 29, I said, man, I'm going to be 30 next year. And we were talking about the 401k, putting in your work so you can, pay off. I said, I have a daughter. I want to be healthy when she's older. I got to start working out and doing something here. So obviously you're starting from scratch and you know nothing. so you just research, right? I just try to get online and learn as much as I can. And I don't want to learn from magazines or BS stuff or forums. You want to I always look at like what works for me. So when I got started, it was a lot of trial and error and just doing things that were probably a waste of time for a little while until I figured out and went, damn, why am I doing this? You keep reading, you keep researching, it keeps evolving, and then you change up your routine. And through the years, I mean, I'm 42 now, so I've honestly tried damn near everything as far as workout routines and doing this versus that. So my background, I guess, has just always been evolving, but where I'm at right now, I probably feel the best I've ever been even in my 20s and 30s, overall physically and mentally, for what I've learned about working out and, the nutrition side of things. I never really took that serious until about 5 years ago, but to combine both of them, that's kind of how I got into the game. How about you? I know you're in there a lot. You got the Instagram game pretty strong. I see you in there with the weights and looking good and swole, looking swole, bro.
Well, you look. I met you personally. Had the privilege of doing that, and you look very lean and mean to me. Very vascular. So yeah, you're a very impressive fella for sure.
Yeah. So how'd you get started in there?
My story is my family came over from Athens, Greece in 1973. I was 9 years old. And in Greece, I mean, we were in Athens. Gym class was basically us playing soccer, and we would take a rock and very poor, and we would kick this ball around the concrete yard, and that was my introduction to physical activity. But when I got to the States, in Baltimore City, I started getting bullied, so I begged my dad to get me some weights. So we went to Kmart and got a plastic-covered concrete 110-pound weight set. So I stayed in the house for about a year, and I lifted weights, and I got very strong. So when I went back out again, I'm 10 or 11 by now. Now I'm the one taking care of business. So that was my introduction to physical education and weightlifting, and that's when I fell in love with it. And in high school, I played football, basketball, lacrosse, and after high school, I spent a lot of time with martial arts and whatnot as a student and then as an instructor, and been in the gym ever since. And now at 55, I kind of let myself go for a few months, and I was concerned that my body wouldn't bounce back, but it's bounced back. My nutrition is there, and my philosophy is there, and now I'm really understanding what I'm doing at the gym. I've slowed down, and I'm making great gains. So it's never too late to get going. And so I love being a gym rat for sure. Yeah.
What part of the city were you in when you came over? Just curious.
We went to Moravia and Sinclair, a place called Eastridge Apartments, right across from Frankfurt Elementary School, and I went to Herring Run Junior High School, so it was a rough neighborhood, and so that's where I was at.
Nice. Yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So for a newbie, for a guy listening to this podcast, maybe anybody getting started for the first time, they don't know how. What would be some good advice you'd give a guy or gal to walk into the gym for the first time, or kind of get your ducks in a row before you even go in the gym? What would you recommend?
Yeah, I try to keep things very simple, Frank. I'm sure you're the same way. And to me, you can't out-exercise a bad diet, right? So you can live in a gym, but if you're burning 1,000 calories and you're eating 3,000 or 4,000 calories, then it's all going to go out the window, right? So I'm an indoor cycling instructor, and I was gaining weight while I was cycling. And my wife, she was like, "How are you doing it?" Well, I was overeating. I was overnourished, if you will. So my three things are, eat real food, eat less of it, and make most of it plant-based, right? And I tend to stay around 12 to 1,500 calories a day. I don't count. I just have a gut feeling of what it is, and that's what works for me. And there's a lot of information out there on Instagram, on the internet, and a lot of people, you just get on there, and there's a lot of good information on there. As you mentioned, there's a lot of misinformation as well, but the main thing for me is it's 90% diet, right? So unless you get that diet right, you can work out all you want. It's not going to work out for you.
Yeah, that was my problem for a long time, and I've always been pretty lean, but overall, I kind of had the diet secondary and my weightlifting primary. So I would make some good gains, but then I would just level off and I wouldn't get to where I want to get. And I really never had any kind of specific goal other than just to keep doing better, increase weight, what have you. But then you increase and you get to the point where you're like, all right, well, I'm pretty much maxing out here, and how much further can I go? But for a newbie, I think if I had to do it all over again, I'd say research some like workout programs and just see what you like, but apply them to yourself, and don't go off a magazine that has, this personal trainer telling you eat these 6 meals of this. Well, that's for that person's body type. That's not your body. You got to figure out where you are, height, weight, calories burned, and all these. We'll get into I'll get into a little technical stuff later, but you've got to apply that to yourself. For so long, I would find these programs and I'd say, oh, that looks pretty cool. I'll try it. I would model my diet after what they did, but that diet's for like a guy that's, 5'8", and just short and shredded. I'm 6 foot, so I'm not going to get the same result. My body's not taking that food in the same way. So just research your programs, apply them to yourself, and then just kind of make a plan and execute it and say, hey, in 6 months, I want to be here. And then 1 year, I want to be there. Don't make any kind of immediate goals where you're weighing yourself, every Friday kind of thing. Just start doing it. And then after time goes by, then look in the mirror. The mirror is going to be your judge too, as you start going down in size, your belt, what have you. Those are the gains that you're going to see right off the bat. And I guess the last one for me would be just don't be afraid to walk into a gym, because the first time I went to the gym here, I was so nervous. I felt like the biggest idiot, man. I'm sitting there with like my pussy weight lifting, right? Guys are just meat-headed out and shredded, and I'm looking at them like I'm a total moron. But now that I've been in the game and I'm in the gym and I'm in the same spot working out, those same guys that I would look at and be like, oh my God, I feel like such an idiot around you, those guys haven't changed a bit. Now that I'm wiser, I look at what they're doing in the gym, and they're doing the same thing week in, week out. But now over a couple of years' time, they're wearing knee braces. They're wearing elbow braces. These guys are my age, right? They're doing it wrong. Form is wrong. Exercise progression is wrong. So everything I thought in that very first day, I should have never thought that. So you get that out of your head, I guess. If you're going to walk in a gym for a first time, just kind of keep it all in perspective and go, hey, I'm here for me. These guys don't know anything. Put your hat down low, turn your music up, and just knock out a workout. That's my best advice for a first timer going into the building.
Yeah, it's all about you. And the one thing, Frank, for new people too, for newbies, I love group fitness. It took me a long time to discover the beauty of group fitness, whether it's cycling or yoga or body pump or TRX or Zumba. I love Zumba, love the dance. And you know what? When you get into the group fitness exercising, the encouragement level is there. You meet people, and we inspire each other, and that also motivates you. It becomes a community, and you see the same people, and you know what? That also gives you a reason to get up and go. The reason why I'm an instructor is because I have to be there. It's whether I'm feeling good or bad, I'm getting up because I have 25, 30, 40 people counting on me to be there, and I've worked through headaches and colds and all kind of issues and gout, when I was 290. And so, what, it does make you go there, but, I do, you got to take that first step. But I do love group fitness for new people and also for veterans as well.
Yeah, totally. It's accountability. You get new friends. You get a lot of help too, because everybody's kind of doing the same thing in that group. So you can really rely on some other people to help you out, motivate you, get you through something, show you a different way that, is working for them to keep up. And a lot of it's a good environment.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, that's a high recommendation there, but you got to make that first step. When as you mentioned, you got to take the ego out of it. You can't worry about what other people are doing. You don't know what they're taking, right? If somebody might be taking HGH or steroids or whatever. So that's got nothing to do with you. Stay in your lane. As you said, stay disciplined, slow down. Form is everything, right? I hate seeing people using poor form. They're using too much weight. They're going to hurt their tendons. Something's going to go wrong. And especially at my age, Frank, my idea is I want to come back the next day. I use a push-pull system for my weightlifting. I alternate days when I'm not cycling. I give my body a chance to rest and breathe. And look, I'd rather use less weight and maybe get a few extra reps instead of doing 8, maybe get in the 10, 12, 15 range and really burn up that muscle, rather than using too much weight and straining myself and hurting myself. That way I might be out of the gym for 3 or 6 months.
Yeah, it's set you up for injury, and poor form is not working the specific muscle the way it should be worked anyway. So you're really not doing anything other than hurting yourself down the road and or on the spot kind of thing.
Right, just like a simple exercise, like a barbell curl, right? You see people swinging, right? They're swinging their hips. You're not. What are you doing? I mean, what are you working? You're not working your biceps, right? So take some weight off, isolate those biceps, feel the burn, squeeze at the top, right? Go all the way down, be controlled. That's a rep, not this swinging back and forth and gyration of the hips, and maybe you're working some core or whatever you're doing, but you're not working your biceps.
Yeah, that's crazy when I see guys do that. The plateau guy, any advice there? This is a guy, maybe he's been in for a couple years and it's leveling off. The gains are pretty much capped. not making much for change, you feel like you're not going anywhere. Any advice to how to bust through the the inevitable plateau?
Yeah, I use Instagram and I use the internet because I'm always looking for different things. I'm always trying to trick my body because, your body will adapt to stress, right? And load if you're putting it the same way. That's why I think if you mix it up, and I mentioned the cycling, the yoga, and the body pump, and the Zumba, swimming, right? There's a great, exercise. There's no adverse impact on your joints. So my advice there is just to mix it up. That's how you break through plateaus. And also your nutrition. Keep changing things around. Familiarity is a killer no matter what you're doing, right? So mix it up, and there's so much information out there, and try it out because, as you mentioned, Frank, correctly, that everybody's body's different. It'll respond to different stimuli. So maybe you go from using barbells to dumbbells to machines to bands, just something different, right? Because you can work the same muscle groups with different items, right? And then you can plank instead of doing sit-ups, right? That's a change. So keep that body guessing. Do not let the body adapt. And that's how I break through plateaus. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going every time I get one. If I change up my program, let's say I'm doing 4 sets of 12 reps, I'll flip that. And I had a pretty good result with going like 5x5, where you kind of go maybe 70 to 80% of your one rep max.
5x5s are
good stuff.
Schwarzenegger right there. That takes me back to old school. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, and if you do, you bang out like a 5x5, but kind of do a rest pause where you do the reps. You don't force another one. You just rack it, 10 deep breaths, 15 deep breaths, and then finish it out. And then even at the end of that, if you want to cut the weight to maybe 40 to 50% and just do 25 reps at the end for like a pump kind of set. I got out of a plateau just doing that alone. And going back to what you had said with the swimming, that is huge benefits to go jump in a pool. You've got to add, if you're hitting a plateau, you've got to add more physical activity. Even if it's just one day, a simple day of swimming, hitting laps. I like going in the pool and doing the high intensity sprints, high knees. So I get in the pool maybe up to my elbows, and I'll stand in place, and then I'll just sprint, high knees for 20 straight seconds. I'll rest until the minute flips back to 0, and I'll do that for 25 minutes. I mean, that alone is a huge calorie burner. Swimming, banging out 50 laps, for a half an hour or what have you, that will really bust up a plateau. Your body, like you said, cannot get used to the same thing. So if you hit it with a lot of change, something like that, whether it's a tweak in your program and then one extra cardio day, you can really see a lot of good results with that, I think.
Yeah, for sure. All great advice, Frank. Great stuff.
So what are you doing in the kitchen? We talked about you can't outrun a bad diet. So how did you tweak your diet, or any nutritional stuff there?
Yeah, my acupuncturist was trying to be nice to me back in April. He said, "Dennis, you're overnourished." I said, "You're calling me fat, aren't you?" He goes, "No, you're overnourished." So, I was eating clean. I was just eating way too much of it. So now I think a misnomer people have is to have a huge breakfast, and then a medium lunch and a light dinner. I think the huge breakfast myth, Frank, came back when we had coal miners eating 3,000 calories in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? By noon, they would burn it up. Nowadays, we're not shoveling coal, so you got to watch that. Even the breakfast to me is a normal meal. Typically, I have some egg whites. Maybe I'll have some Greek yogurt, non-fat, a lot of water. The only things I drink are coffee and water, right? And I've limited my sugar count, my salt count, my dairy. I watch my dairy intake. And I have a light, moderate lunch, usually a salad with grilled chicken or fish. I can't tell you the last time I ate some red meat. And my last meal of the day is 6:30 at night, and that's it. After 6:30, I brush my teeth, and if I get hungry, I just drink a big glass of water. But it's just common sense. We all know what to do. Everybody knows what to do. With all the information out there, Frank, we've all been up and down. We know what to do, right? So it's just a matter of discipline and application and staying true to that. I've been to 2 weddings the last 3 months, and I've skipped dessert. And my wife has asked me, "Are you feeling okay?" But when you spend so much time in the gym, on the bike, right, and all the cardio that we do, you don't want to give it back. Not that you can't have a cheap meal here or there, but I got to tell you, I haven't had a cheap meal. I use some Perillo products. I make these brownies, and I eat a very small piece after my meal, and that satisfies my sweet tooth.
Yeah, I do like one cheat meal a week, and I don't go crazy on it, just enough, like a fistful portion or what have you, and just keep it simple. And And that was my problem for a while. I really didn't, take the diet serious. So once I did, I decided, all right, I'm a picky eater anyway, so there's a lot of stuff I don't eat, which is a problem. So I was just trying to keep it as simple as I could to eat clean, eat your complex carbs versus your quick carbs. Instead of regular mashed potatoes, eat a sweet potato. Instead of white rice, eat brown rice. Make all the real easy checkoffs into your diet. That alone pays dividends huge. And the complex carb, your body works harder to break it down and get out. And there's, the sugar, that's kind of out of it. No man-made sugar kind of products and food. But I found a really good calculator. It's called TDEE. And what it is, it was just something that you can type your age, your weight, your height, and your activity into. And it's a little calculator if you're looking at like body fat percentage. When you go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, you're 23 BMI and you're grossly obese or whatever these charts are, it's such a fine, wide kind of range. If you really want to know where you're at, this is a good calculator to get you a base of, okay, I work out 3 times a week and I have a desk job. So my body fat is probably this. Calculate. And what it'll do is get you like your resting basal why can't I talk? Metabolic rate. So you start with this number and you say, all right, well, for what I'm currently doing at whatever weight I don't want to be at, this is my number. I take that number and reduce it 25%, and then I look at my proteins, my fats, and my carbs. I eat clean and I get in those numbers, and you will lose weight. You won't lose 5 pounds in a week or any kind of crazy survivor style diets. But on average, if you tweak it and you eat clean and you stick with it, you'll lose like a pound a week. And once I got going, it was like a pound a week. And I had really good results with it. I got to where I wanted to be. And then you kind of do like a maintenance number past that, where you're not going to cut calories anymore. You just want to maintain where you're at. So you find that number and it gives you a range and you experiment. You play with it a couple months. And then you can kind of keep where you're at. Like you said, you get the body that you're looking for or in that range, and you don't have to go off the rails and wonder, all right, well, I got to start over again at some point. No, you kind of keep a steady hand. Maybe summer comes around, you want to get cut, a little bit for the beach, then you can do something and drop it back. But I found for me, playing with the numbers helped me do a really disciplined diet versus just trying to wing it and say, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. Cause that's hard for me diet wise. I'm more disciplined in the gym than I am the diet. So this kind of helped me stay on task and stay focused and have a number to go back to, at least to give me a baseline. So that was my nutritional plan there.
Yeah, great stuff, Frank. Again, there's a lot of information out there, and just stick to it. A lot of the biggest reason why these meal plans work, the ones you have to pay for, is because they don't give you a lot of food. They're all small portions. Like Weight Watchers or whatever. You're getting nothing. Even if they send you a steak, it's 4 ounces, right? You're not going to get in trouble eating 4 ounces of anything. So again, save your money, eat real food, right? Eat less of it. Most of it plant-based. You'll be good.
Absolutely. Going back to the gym, my favorite topic near and dear to my heart is Gym Etiquette 101. I swear I just live for this stuff, because when you think you've seen it all, you see 5 more things that just take the cake. So for gym etiquette, there's a lot some people, you don't know what you don't know, but there's a lot of characters in the gym, and every gym is littered with characters, good and bad. But your 5 do's and your 5 don'ts to some of the listeners on this podcast, what would be some of your 5 do's at the gym? What we want you to do at the gym?
And not just at the gym, Frank, but my philosophy, just like when you approach a green on the golf course, right? You want to leave it better than you found it. And I think if people understand that, right? Leave it better than you found it. So if you approach a loaded bar and unload it, put your weight on it, but you know what? Make sure you strip it down and you leave it that way. You leave it empty so the next person can use it. You might have a weaker person than you, that doesn't want to have 45-pound plates on each side. So I know that drives you nuts. It has to. It drives me nuts as well. That's one of mine. Let's go back and forth. Give me one of yours. I was going to definitely agree with re-rack your weights. I was going to say get in and get out. Make your workout 45 to 60 minutes and be efficient, because anything really past 90 minutes, you're counteracting the work. Your muscles, you're burning and you're taking from
your muscles, your stores. You're not being efficient. Your primary best leanest workout has got to be 45 to 60 minutes unless you're doing some cardio or something else. But just weights alone, there's no reason to go over 60 minutes.
Exactly. The next one for me is clean the bench, clean the equipment. The older I get, Frank, the more I'm aware of bacteria and germs. Not that I'm a germaphobe, but I'm getting there. I'm getting real close because I don't want to get sick. My son went to a gym, put his head on the bench. He got some lice. Okay, it's not fun. So everybody listening out there, leave it better than you find it. They have wipes at every gym. They have disinfectant items. I usually put a towel down where my head is going to be.
Yep.
I wipe down everything almost to a fault, right? So please, everyone, for your own safety and health and everybody else's, because you don't know what you're carrying. You don't know where you've been. You want to clean it. You want to clean your equipment.
Absolutely. And speaking of going in and leaving it the way you found it, as soon as you walk in, I guess a do would be just be humble and realize that everybody is different. I mean, I'm sitting there on the bench, maxing out at whatever weight. I should probably be double that, right? But then I look over to my right, and there's maybe there's some guy over there that's doing a shoulder press with some ungodly weight, and he's doing it right. And I mean, I'm looking at the guy going, wow, I'm bigger than he is. I'm more shredded than he, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is completely different. So your best workout may be somebody else's, worst, or your best effort is applied to whatever. So I'm more, I guess, better, stronger on pull movement. So rows, things like that. I can go heavy and I can run a lot of weight, but on push movements, I don't think I'm as strong. So it might be the opposite for somebody else. So just to be humble, walk in the gym, have an open mind, and you never really want to size yourself up to anybody else because everybody's in a different spot as far as how they came up, life, their abilities. Maybe they're hurt, maybe this, maybe that. You never know. So just be humble and realize that, hey, do what works for you, not because you saw this person do, this amount of weight on a workout. And you should be that because, eyeballing him up, you're in line with him, right? Kind of thing.
Well, there's some people out there, Frank, that they're country strong. They don't look strong, but their tendons, their ligaments, what's the stabilizers, stuff you can't see, and they're amazing people. My brother happens to be that way. He's younger than I am. He's 6'4". He's a beanpole, but he's the strongest guy pound for pound that I know. Used to be the heavyweight arm wrestling champ in Maryland back in the day because of that tendon strength. So looks can be very, very deceiving. But to that point, don't be a jerk. Last week at the gym, I asked a couple of guys, can I borrow this rope for my tricep? And they were like real nasty, like, we're not done with it yet. I'm like, all right, so no problem. So, but it caused me to take off my sweatshirt just to let them know what they were looking at, dealing with. So they kind of, but I mean, it was like, just smile, be friendly, be helpful, be kind, allow people to work in with you, right? If they ask you some advice, give it to them. It's a compliment when people ask you for advice. How are you doing it? Why are you doing it that way? So just be a good person.
Absolutely. And then some don'ts. We're going to talk about some 5 don'ts. My biggest thing, I guess, maybe they're gym pet peeves, I guess you could say, right? I'll say, don't make the gym your personal variety show. Some of these guys at the gym, it is like they walk in and everybody should be watching them, right? They're going to put on a show for everybody today. And there's a couple like that at my gym. And, this guy, he sees, there's another guy, we're talking about sizing people up or whatever, just eyeball test. There's a little short guy, gets on the bench, he bangs out like 375. I looked at this guy, I'm like, damn, that is impressive. I'd have never thought he's pushing that much. Well, the other guy sees him, comes over and ups it to like 450. And he's slapping his chest, getting all in ready, chalking up. And I mean, the whole gym is looking at this guy like, what the hell is about to happen, right? He gets it up, does half a rep. His guy re-racks it for him, takes his bag, throws it against the wall, and walks out. It's like, this ain't your show, man. You're there to work out. You're not putting on a show for people. Do your workout quietly, right? It's just like, come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to be the center of attention. That's a don't. That's a big don't for me.
Well, mine kind of piggyback to what you just said. Don't wear inappropriate clothes, right? I mean, come on now. I see folks at the gym, like I see ladies in sports bras that shouldn't be wearing sports bras. I mean, it's just, and guys wearing certain things, and I don't want to see their underwear. So
Yeah.
make sure, I'd rather see less than more. Typically, I'm wearing a sweatshirt, and sweatpants because I'm grinding, right? I don't want to, unless I want to intimidate somebody, that's when I take something off. But, wear clothes that are appropriate, that are modest, that are not distracting. They talk about drawing attention to yourself, and we've seen those prima donnas.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm usually rocking shorts. I'll put an Under Armour Heat Gear shirt on just so I'm not sweating up my top shirt, and I'll just wear a regular t-shirt or whatever, and that's it. Just so I'm comfortable. I got a hat. I'm always repping Baltimore in the gym. But are guys wearing the hot pants by you?
Oh, you know what? I don't pay attention, man. I put on blinders. You call me secretariat because I just block it all out. There's some things you can't unsee, though. Really, there's some things that are borderline offensive, but both males and females. And look, you got to look in the mirror before you step outside of the house.
Yeah, because the guys here, they're rocking the short shorts, and I'm telling you, I don't know how you can wear that working out, especially doing squats or like deadlifts, anything bending over, man. I don't see it. I don't know about that stuff.
I'm about to rock out some John Cena jorts, the jean shorts.
Yeah.
With a sweatshirt. It's not a fashion show. You're there to work out and you're there to focus. And one of my other pet peeves is don't talk too much. That's why, Frank, usually I put on my big oversized headphones. A little bit uncomfortable, but they send a clear message that, look, I'm there to work out. I'm not there to socialize. But you see people there. It looks like they come there just to talk.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do that. I'll talk to people in the gym. I don't have a problem with that. But you kind of know when you got to get back into your workout or your next set and you're not hogging up a machine. But yeah, I wear the same over the ear headphones. I love them. Yep. And I got to drown out what's playing over the intercom at mine because they crank up just the worst music and I can't listen to that. So I got to turn on the noise cancelers to listen to my stuff.
My primary gym is LifeBridge Health and Fitness in addition to Merit Athletic Clubs and Merit Properties. And LifeBridge Health and Fitness has an older clientele, so we don't have Count Basie to speakers, but still, for me, it's not too much of a trouble. But the reason why I like my oversized headphones is it just sends a clear message. I'm there. I'm serious to work. I'm not there to talk about the Ravens or anything else. I'm just there to focus on my workout.
Yeah. And then my pet peeve, I guess, too, is supersetting in a crowded gym. So your superset is you're going to knock out bicep curls and you're going to run over and do lat pull downs, and then you're going to come back over and maybe do some bent over dumbbell rows. So you've got 3 different workouts that you're going to do, and you need 3 pieces of machine or free weights to get this done. Well, when the gym is empty or minimal amount of people, that's fine. That's not a big deal at all. But when you walk into the gym and there's 30 people deep and you're supersetting, I don't know what the hell you're working out. I have no idea that you're still using those dumbbells that are on the floor with nothing and nobody around them. So when I bend over to pick one up and go, hey, I guess I can run these for a quick set, and you come over and get pissed off at me, I don't want to hear it. Don't superset in a crowded gym. That's just the worst thing to do. It's just awful. And a lot of people do it, and it's so hard to figure out who's on what. I had a lady last week. She was supersetting lat pull downs and tricep rope push downs. Why I don't know. Well, she was on the lat pull down and I needed the rope to do my triceps.
Yep.
And I need the short one because my arms are so damn long. So I look over at her and I gave her a couple minutes, just to see if she's going to jump off the lat pull downs, and she didn't. So I went over, I grabbed the short rope and I looked down and she had the long rope there. Well, she's short. So I'm like, oh, well, if she needs it, she can at least grab. I'm not leaving her with nothing. I go back over. She came over to me in the middle of my rep. I had the thing fully extended. She took it off of the cable.
Great.
And bam, it snaps up. She's bitching at me. You don't come over and take it. I'm like, whoa. What are you? People, you just have some common courtesy, right? Look around. Yeah. If it's busy, change it up, do something else. Or if somebody comes over, hey, you mind if I grab this one too? Are you using it, kind of thing? Or just communicate, I guess. But yeah, don't superset in a crowded gym. It's too hard to figure out what the hell you're doing.
All right, Frank. Worse than that, though, I would take that over just odors and creams in general. Perfume, cologne.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Especially when they come into my cycling room. I've had to ask people to leave. They have warm vanilla sugar. They have all kind of garbage on them. Folks, what are you doing? It's a workout, right? Be considerate. And all this inconsiderate people, whether it's taking your rope and supersetting or just the odoriferous things that they bring to the gym that mess up my olfactory glands. I don't want to deal with that, man. It's bad enough everybody sweats, right? You don't want to mask it or try to compound it with all these other creams and odors and garbage you find on your bench or stuff that comes up your nostrils.
Yeah, you're walking around, full Axe spray at the locker, right?
Insane. It's insane, man.
Walk into the cloud.
They're spraying biofreeze in the air. I don't want to smell biofreeze up my nostrils. Put it on in your car or in your house after you leave the gym. Do not do it in my presence in close confines. Don't do that.
Yeah, that does sting the nostrils, that biofreeze stuff. Oh, my dear God, yeah.
Good stuff. I use it, but you know what? I use it, but I'm respectful of how and when I'm using it. I would use a roll-on in my car, before I get home. My car may stink, but that's where it's confined.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a very good one. My last one, I guess, for me, that's probably my number one pet peeve. I don't know, maybe I'm just a goofball, but CrossFitters in the gym.
Ooh, here we go.
You got to know your room. So the gym that I go to is pretty much just, it's like a family / semi-serious gym. They've got free weights. I go there because Planet Fitness just doesn't have enough. And you move up the ranks in weight, so your exercises are changing and you're doing more, your free weights and stuff. So this gym is it's family, more environment. There's a lot of good people in there that work out and do stuff, but there's a certain little cult of CrossFit people that come in there, and it's not a CrossFit gym. So, I'm going to need the squat rack. Oh, well, I can't use the squat rack because this chick is doing kipper pull-ups on it, where you're, flopping your body like a fish to do a pull-up, which is not a pull-up. And in between that, she's, it's like if you ever watch the CrossFit on ESPN, right? It's the whole CrossFit circuit in the gym. And I'm like, do that in a CrossFit. We have dedicated CrossFit gyms where I live. They're all over the place, right? That's where you go do your CrossFit stuff. Don't come into the regular gym. They're doing handstands and walking down the aisle. Come on. I'm trying to work out.
We don't have that. Fortunately, our clientele, they're not CrossFitters. They're just trying to get in their 80s or 90s. So we don't see that too much at our gym. We also have a space for more serious lifters, and so there are different areas you can go to. But that would drive me nuts too. Yeah,
CrossFit is I respect it. I think it serves a real good purpose. It's a really good workout. But the thing that I don't like about it is that your form goes out the window when you're trying to do all these circuits of stuff that your body just can't keep up. So the first thing that you sacrifice is your form. That's where you get hurt. And it sets you up for a lot of injury. But I think as far as like if you do a simple maybe CrossFit workout that's not as taxing, you don't have to like clean press stuff and mix that in with all this other workout kind of crazy things. Just do a simple circuit thing of anything is a good workout, right? So yeah, CrossFit stuff in the gym. Yeah, if you're walking, if I'm doing an exercise and you walk past me on your hands, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's something different. Yeah, I like walking on my feet. That's why I buy shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
So next up here, we're talking about over-the-ear headphones. So what are we rocking on our playlists? What do you got on your your playlist?
I am so diverse because I grew up in Athens, so I do have a European background when it comes to music, the Greek music and whatnot, and growing up in Baltimore City, I like urban, the rhythm and blues, R&B type of music.
Yeah.
And now as an instructor, my range is immense. I'm known for my terrific mashups and mixes and playlists. And
because you got to go with the beat, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, a lot of that.
I ride to the beat. Yeah, I ride to the beat. That's what we do. I'm very intuitive and how we do our workouts to try to keep them fresh. But Spotify and Apple iTunes, I spend money with them every month. And I've got 250,000 songs in my playlist. So they're always diverse. They're always changing. And I'm known for my workouts, the intensity of my workouts, and also the freshness of my playlist because I love I love surprising our members, right?
Yeah.
I'll have a mashup between, Gangnam Style and, MC Hammer. So, when they're doing one thing, all of a sudden, boom, the beat changes, and we call that a pivot, right? So we pivot to something else. But I'll do anything except maybe bluegrass. With apologies to people out that like bluegrass, but my stuff, I go back to the '60s, '50s, '70s, '80s. I like it all. As long as it's got a good beat, and you can tell when your members are engaged and having a good time. And I also subscribe to Peloton too, because I don't have the bike. Although I gifted one to my daughter for Christmas a couple of years ago, but I like to watch what their instructors do. So I'm always stealing stuff, whether it's movements or music, because it's got to move you. They've proven, Frank, that if you like the music, you will work out 7% harder than if you don't. Columbia University did a study many years ago. Music is important, right? When you're rocking something that you like, you're going to push just a little bit harder. So I'm dead serious about my music and my playlist. You can follow me on Spotify. You can follow me on Apple. I do have some followers there, and a lot of instructors do steal my stuff, which I think is a compliment. I like to share stuff.
Yeah, you got to change it up. Keep everybody on their toes when they come into one of your classes, then,
Always.
Yeah, I got to get in. I got to get in and do one of your classes there. That'd be fun.
They're intense. I'm gonna start streaming them. I'm gonna start putting them online. Because a lot of my members, they've moved out of town and whatnot. They're still calling me and said, "Dennis, you got to do something. Put it up on YouTube." So,
there you go.
You're a lot more technical with that, Frank. Maybe you can help me with that, perhaps. But now that I've lost weight too, now I actually look like an instructor again. Maybe I can push the pace a little bit in that regard. But because I do have several classes a week, and my members do come to multiple classes, I don't want them to hear the same thing. I don't want the same workout. It's got to be fresh for me as well for them, because you can't draw water from an empty well. So my well's got to be full all the time.
Yeah.
It's a transference. So if I'm not having a good time, if I'm not feeling it, then I can't expect them to feel it either.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge believer in that study, like you said, that the music, you're going to work harder on the music. And I'm kind of the same way. I'll go all over the map depending on my mood. And sometimes I'll be in there and I'll just listen to some podcasts or even radio. If it's not music, I'll listen to some radio stuff to get caught up on, sports stuff. Very rarely, but other than that, I mean, I'll flip to heavy metal stuff if I feel like it's a leg day. Maybe I'll do some rap, whether it's new stuff or old. I do a lot of Baltimore rap. There's a lot of good artists in Baltimore I'll listen to too. So I'm all over the place with music too. I like anything, good beat, something to good tempo to keep me in the mix and working out. I love the music. I got to have music. It's so hard with days that I forget my headphones or something maybe, and it's like, oh my God, I feel like my whole workout just got zapped kind of thing.
This is not going to sound, but I probably have about 20 sets of different headphones. I mean, I've got the latest Apple iPods, that are noise canceling, which are really, really great. So I'm an audiophile. I like to hear it crisp. I've got the Bose, the latest and greatest, and I've got my Apple iWatch that connect to my iPod and my AirPods rather. So I'm always listening to something. And even at the gym, sometimes I'll Shazam a song that I hear. I have Shazam on my watch. I'm always looking for new and fresh stuff, or at least a twist on some old stuff.
Definitely. So going back to the diet stuff, did you ever do any programs or just have something that got you like the best ever results, or you ever do anything like that?
I like to think right now I'm doing real well in terms of being close to where optimum state physically, and I use Shakeology. I like that. It's a meal replacement for me. I put some apple butter in it, some pumpkin butter. I like putting bananas in there and different things, but they have different flavors. So for me, that's my lunch every day. That's my meal replacement. So I like that in terms of nutrition, and I think that's been a big key in helping me lose some weight. Jimmy'sFamousMeals.com, to give them a plug. They have some delivery options that I've used here at least recently, but I think right now I'm getting my best results at my age, particularly. I see, and I'm saying as humble as I can. I see a lot of people my age in their mid-50s who they look like they're in their 60s, right? And they've let themselves go. And this is the decade that people my age have to fight, because if you either fight right now, Frank, or you give up.
Yeah.
And when you give up, you're going to pay a big, big price by doing so.
So you got your best ever results going right now.
Right now, because I think I'm much smarter. I think I'm really paying attention. So my best results. Look, when you're we're younger, right? I mean, we're physical freaks. We have a lot of testosterone going for us, but when we age and you're starting to get in that area as well, you're a lot smarter about how you approach things, right? So I would like to think right now, and the mirror tells me that my results are getting pretty close to being the best ever. What about you?
That's good. That's really good. Like you said, you get smarter as you're in the game, and to put it all at the right time now is there's no time like the present. So that's good to hear. The I don't. For me, I'm a little weird. I like to, like I said in the beginning, I like to give myself some kind of goal and just try to do it and see if I can do it. If I don't, I don't. But Wisconsin makes it really, really difficult to stay fit year round. I mean, I'm not saying there is no excuse. I'm not going that route. But for me, I got to be outside under the sun. For me to walk into the gym and hop on a treadmill, that's a fate worse than death. I just can't handle it. I have no motivation to stand on the treadmill and walk into oblivion. I just can't. I need to be outside. I'd rather, do sprints up this hill at one of the parks by my house, or just walk my dogs outside, easy cardio, things like that. So it's hard for me in the winter here to get going. So I got to go to the pool and do, like I said, the high intensity sprints or swim. I do those things to do cardio. I'll run the steps at the gym too, by myself. I'll take 2 35-pound plates and I'll run 2 flights, rest for a minute, run 2 flights, rest for a minute, do that 30 minutes, I'm in and out. So kind of things like that, but it's hard. It's a little hard to do in the winter, but so I do programs. I try to design them for like New Year's is when I start it. And then I try to get to be as shredded as I can get for the summer maybe or something. And I'll do my diet. I'll check my numbers out and see where I want to be. So like in 2017, I went from 18% body fat to like 10. I almost got to 9. My goal was to get to single digits. But even at 10, that was like UFC welterweight style, right? The welterweight class is 155 to 170. I think I was 165 and I was shredded and I did. It took me 8 months. I got there, right about August is when I finally got, and it was tough. It really messes with you as far as, staying on task. The workouts get harder the more you get down to single digits. So when you see those people, it's a lot of work that goes into it. So that was my goal and I got to it. And then, and then I went to my maintenance phase, I guess, where you go, okay, I like this, but I don't want to go this extreme again. I just wanted to see if I could do it kind of thing. And then you bump everything back up. Then it's fall in Wisconsin, which is pretty much, maybe early winter in Maryland. And then you're cutting I'm cutting my cardio out again. I'm not outside every day. I can't walk the dogs for an hour every day. So you just kind of fall back into like a maintenance phase. And then I just do something else, when New Year's rolls around. But that was probably my best ever result. I couldn't believe I got down that far. And along the way, I mean, you change the workouts up and you get stronger. You try to increase by 5 pounds, every 2 weeks. You get volume in there. If you're doing 8 reps, kick it up to 10, kick it up to 12. Like you said, go up to 15 and just keep the body guessing. So I think that was probably the year I got my best ever results. And like you said, now I'm kind of in the spot where I feel like I'm at the peak of my game. I know what I'm kind of doing in there. I know enough to be dangerous now. So this year I'll probably do something different or try a different, maybe I'll focus on that 5x5 a little more again. I haven't done that in a couple of years, and I'll build my workout around that. So just a different plan probably, but stuff like that, it keeps me on my toes, and that's kind of how I do it each year.
That's great stuff, Frank. It's only going to get better. Currently, I'm utilizing a push-pull regiment when it comes to my weights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And then I'm an indoor cycling instructor Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays, I have a 5:45 a.m. class and a 7 a.m. class. Thursdays, I go at 5:45. Then Saturdays, 7:30 at Lifebridge and 9 o'clock at the Downtown Athletic Club. So I have 5 indoor cycling classes a week. That takes care of my cardio. I also
that's really good.
I hate running, so that's why I cycle so much. But I like to do some distance, 3 to 5 miles on the treadmill, and I love my push-pull routines. And because I am employed by 3 different athletic clubs, they have different equipment, different machines, and so I'm able to move around. And I like discovering new machines and new equipment, right? Because different angles and whatnot, then the proof is in the pudding when you're really sore the next day. You can really, whether it's your back or your traps or I don't do any leg work because of how intense I am with my cycling. So
right.
All upper body for me, right? Upper body and some ab work. But that is my current routine. It's working out real well. And my son a couple of weeks ago said, "Dad, are you taking steroids?" And I said to him, "No, no, no." No, but I did take some creatine. I found some stuff called 318. It's 3 different types of creatine. I didn't do a loading phase. I just got right into it. I did it for 30 days. Now I'm taking 30 days off, and December the 1st, I'm going to do another 30 days. I like what creatine does to my body.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think, and we didn't really. We should talk about that. We can kind of wrap that up with our last segment here for current, because like creatine for me, I take that and I cycle it. I'll do like a couple months on, a couple months off. And I think for me, the creatine gets me maybe 3 to 5 reps extra and maybe 5 pounds additional. I think when you cut that out and you're a couple weeks in after you've cut it out, I think I can almost go backwards sometimes, at least for reps. That'll be the first thing I notice. And I'm like, damn, I did 8 of these last time. Now I'm only doing 5. I think it does give you a little boost for what it does to you. It gets into your system. But for supplements, a lot of people, they'll say that too. Well, what are you taking for supplements, bro? It's like, you don't need to take a ton of supplements. You just got to work out the right way and do the diet. So supplements, I always think, I don't know about you, I just keep it really simple. I want some creatine just to get you a little oomph into your workout. And then they have amino acids, I guess, for recovery, like a post-workout with a shake, or I'll just drink it as is. And that's like, the amino acids, BCAAs. There's Scivation Extend is a good one. I got turned on to that actually in 2000, I think it was 2001 or 2. The Ravens game on CBS had a cutaway of the locker room. So they're going, when they take the zoom in shot of the locker, oh, there's Ray Lewis's locker. Oh, there's Chris McAllister's and all that, right? Well, they got to Ed Reed's locker and he had Extend in there. And I'm like, what the hell is that stuff? Yeah, I'm like, what the hell is that stuff? So I looked it up. And I'm like, working out keeps you from getting sore. And I'm like, I'll try. It was like $30 or something for 30 servings. And I tried it. I've been taking it ever since. I took it for 3 months. And I'm like, maybe it's placebo. Is it even doing anything? And I stopped taking it. And a little bit, yeah, you can tell a difference. You're not as sore. I know. I don't know about you. For me, I get sore like that DOMS, the delayed onset muscle, right?
Frank, I stay sore, Frank. I don't do that way.
I'll say your routine.
I stay sore, man. So what's this stuff called again? I'm writing this down.
It's called Extend, the letter X, and then TEND. And it's just a natural BCAA supplement. It's about... Gotcha. I think you could probably get it for like $20, but it has leucine.
Well, if you had Ed Reader taken it, that's enough of an advantage
yes,
for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's got glutamine to help recovery, leucine to build muscle, and it's just a simple drink. It's not filled all kinds of fillers and stuff, so it's a good one I take. And protein, that's it.
Yeah, besides Shakeology, which has some protein in there, and I use some Perillo products too. I like their chew bars. They're high protein, low fat. I like his products. John Perillo's been around for a long time. But I take a baby St. Joe's in the morning for my heart. My dad, God rest his soul, had 2 quintuple bypasses, so been taking that aspirin every day.
Yep.
I take a B12 sublingually, and I take 500 milligrams of vitamin C chewable. That's it. So my every time I go to my doctor or if I have a procedure, they're like, "What else are you taking?" I'm like, "Nothing else." They're like, "Well, a man your age should take a lot more than that." Well, this man, that's all he takes, right? I don't need too much to keep myself going, and I'm kind of creepy about putting stuff in my body that I can't get from food.
Yeah, I'm about the same way. I just like the vitamins, the vitamin B, C, fish oil, glucosamine. That's really about it. Like I said, the amino acids for post-workout, the creatine for my workout, and that's really it. There's a lot of guys at the gym that take all kinds of crazy stuff, and I don't know, jacking yourself up full of stuff. You don't want to go down that route. You don't know what that's going to do down the road, but just keep it simple for supplements. And if you're putting the work in, it'll pay for itself. I mean, you'll be able to recover a little quicker. Maybe it's not a full big advantage, but I think it definitely helps. It does a little bit. It's worth it.
Well, I've got to get my BMI, my body fat down to your level. I'm 5'10", I'm 217 right now. And my plan is, God willing, going forward, as I get older, I'm going to get a little bit smaller, but it's going to be incrementally smaller, a pound here, a pound there, right? I got to get under 200 at some point. And then, right now I'm a safety. I'm a big safety or small linebacker. I want to get down to defensive backside, because that's the other thing is if you go to to a nursing home, you don't see fat people there because they're all dead. Everybody that's alive and living, they're lean, right? They're not carrying a lot of mass on their body. And I think, eagles, when an eagle leaves its nest, it's the biggest it will ever be. Eagles get smaller as they age, and I've always thought myself as a rare bird. I give you a metaphor there. So I want to shrink, and I've become my shrinking, but it's by plan, and I want to get leaner and meaner as I gauge. But I also don't want to lose it too fast, because then people start asking you questions like, "Are you sick?" And the clothes don't fit as well. And so to me, now that I've had a drastic weight loss, I'm trying to maintain and watch what I eat. And if I start spiking and getting closer to 220, then I really get more discipline in my diet. But I'd like to be call it by spring under 210, which I think is a very good goal for me, which is another thing I think folks should have some goals and measuring, right? You can't manage what you can't measure. Frank, I used to be terrified of the scale, but now every night before I go to bed I weigh myself, and every morning I do the same thing. I've got to measure it. I've got to know where I am.
Yeah, set numbers, set goals. That's the best thing you can do. And like we said at the top, you got to put some time in between that goal, because it doesn't happen overnight. And the longer you push it out, you work towards something, and when you get there, the payoff is even sweeter, I think, to be patient and look at the long game, not the short game.
Well, the pain of discipline, Frank, is much greater than the pain of regret. And that's everybody listening out there. You don't want to regret. You don't want to check out by fork, which is I was on my way of checking out via fork. I knew I was killing myself back in April, and wasn't feeling too good. And I've got a grandbaby now. He's terrific. He's 9 months old. And you know what, Frank? I want to dance at his wedding, God willing. And I can't do that if I had stayed on the same track that I was on. And now I'm on the great track back again, and I've got to stay on it. And by having good people in my life like yourself and everybody else, and we inspire each other. Steel sharpens steel. That's
right, exactly. That's good to hear, and I got to get out to one of your classes here eventually. Here, next Maryland visit or something. We'll hook up, and we'll hook up, and you let me know where it's at, when, time, and I'll be in that place for sure.
It'll be my pleasure. It'll be wonderful to have you in our class. I'm sure you'll dominate it for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today. That'll wrap up the podcast. I hope you guys learned some good stuff, got some nuggets for the workout, nutrition, little NFL action, Ravens. So give this episode a share, leave some comments, post up anything football related, working out, life. Hit us up on Twitter anytime at the Koulatsos Show, at Fantasy Wire HQ, and we'll love to talk to you and go back and forth. It's great stuff.
Sounds awesome, Frank. Thank you for your time. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. We'll do it again soon.
Be well, my friend. Thank you.
Yep.
That wraps up today's episode. For even more fantasy football content, find Frank on Twitter at FantasyWireHQ and online at thefantasyfootballwire.com. Be sure to tune in next week, and thanks for listening.